There we go. All righty. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, unfortunately, again to the Small Business Fire Relief Disaster Loan Information webinar. To quote Yogi Berra, old baseball great, it's deja vu all over again. I remember doing this for the first time here at the SBDC back in 2018, right after the car fire. And here we are 3 years later, doing it all over again. So hopefully this will help at least to demystify some of the information coming around the SBA program. There are other programs that we're hoping will become available, but this one is directly from the SBA. Again, the SBDC is a nonprofit organization, and we offer confidential, no-cost advisory and training services. This happens to be the training portion. We are funded by the SBA and the state of California through GoBiz. And if after this webinar, you still have questions about the application process and wish to proceed, we'll be happy to help and assist at no charge. That's the best part of this thing. We're already paying for it with our tax dollars. Let's take advantage of it. I remember helping back again in 2018. And so, and of course, during COVID. And now we're going to do it again for this group of fires, specifically for Trinity County, who was mostly affected by small businesses actually having physical and economic damage. Here's our disclaimer. The information provided in this webinar and any supplementary materials provided to the registrants are intended for the educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute professional, financial, legal advice. No registrant should act or fail to act on the basis of the material contained in the webinar without obtaining proper financial, legal, and other professional advice specific to your situation. Northern California Small Business Development Center and its host, the HSU-sponsored Programs Foundation, specifically disclaims any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence, directly or indirectly, of the use or the application of any information presented in this webinar. There's the attorneys for you. One of the things definitely that I'm sure you may have already done, and it's A1 important, is to check with your business insurance company. We did find out, even in the last, the car and the campfire EIDL loan process, that many clients had loss of revenue liability insurance built into their fire insurance policies. So they actually made out better going through their insurance company than they would have through this, since this is a loan, right? So I'm sure you've already done it, but make sure you contact your insurance company, whether you had physical damage or not, and see if you have this loss of income coverage. It can be a godsend, okay? And that's just pure fact. We have a lot of advisors. I'm one of them. Joe Rodola. There's a whole bunch of others here available to help you in various areas. This is not the only thing we do. We also have communication and contact with 40 additional subject matter experts throughout Northern California, mostly in Sacramento and San Francisco, in things like restaurant consultants, quick Kickstarter, and funding programs online specialists. You name it, we probably have a specialist that can assist, and all this contact and communication is at no charge. Here's me, old banker by trade, been now helping small businesses in an advisory capacity for a total of 9 years, counting the 2 years at SCED, Superior California Economic Development, one of our sister companies that also assist and now 7 years with SBDC. So, and I'm an old banker by trade, so I understand the lending pretty well. All right, so by the end of the day, we're going to talk about the disaster loan program. You'll hopefully understand how that works, the documents you're going to need to prepare and get ready for the SBA, how to prepare those documents and get them ready, connect with an advisor here if you need help. And of course, we'll go over the application briefly as we go forward as well. All right, so there's two types of damage. Physical damage, which means your business actually had some fire damage, right? Property, outbuildings, maybe even main buildings were affected. And then there's economic injury. An economic injury occurs when your business lost revenue due to closed roads, like 299 being closed for a long time because of the Monument Fire. Smoke loss of revenue. People stopped coming to your particular area because there was too much smoke, couldn't breathe. So any kind of loss of revenue is called economic injury. Okay. And you can apply for both, either or both, okay, on this SBA program. So again, we all know about physical damage, it's pretty easy, but additional injuries have also occurred during the fire. They continue while the air and the roads were closed and cleared, and will continue to impact communities while we rebuild. This is called financial impact, okay? It has many, and the financial impact on the fire loans should show up between, say, July of this year, June, July, through even now, right? So you may have had a really decent spring coming out of COVID, maybe. Maybe you had a good spring and early summer coming out of the pandemic. Then the fires hit, closed the roads, and closed everything, the smoke hit, and they started losing revenue again. Technically at this time, as I'm presenting this webinar, there are two types, minimally two types of EIDL loans available. There is actually, I believe, a third one, but it doesn't affect a lot of our northern area states because it has to do with ag-related water issues. There's another one, but suffice it to say there are two up here in the North State officially running simultaneously right now. First one, been around since April, March of last year, and that is the COVID pandemic EIDL, Disaster Loan Program, okay? When you go onto the SBA.gov website, you'll want to differentiate between the two applications, because one will say COVID-19, one will say other related disasters, because not only us are involved. This EIDL loan, of course, is also being run, very, very similar loan program down in Louisiana because of the hurricane damage. So this is a nationwide program, and there's two types of applications you can process. One, due to COVID loss of revenue, and one because of fire loss of revenue. And if you're interested, we can talk about both without a problem. Be happy to discuss it with you. And in some cases, you may already even have the EIDL disaster loan for the COVID, and now you've got this new thing that's affected you. Whether you want both loans or not, up to you, but we can talk about it before you decide. Not a bad idea. So economic injury disaster loan, the EIDL, okay? Working capital loan to help small businesses meet ordinary and necessary financial obligations. You cannot use this money theoretically to pay off a large existing loan that you had prior to the event, okay? These loans are specifically designed to help you carry through to the time when you can hopefully build up your revenue once again to pre-disaster levels. So in other words, you can make all the payments on your loans, rent, mortgage, payroll, lights, insurance. I mean, it can be used for all things that you run short in. Just don't pay off a big loan with it, okay? Because you're supposed to use this for cash flow. This is supposed to get you from here to, I was checking this morning, it looks like the Monument Fire is still only 85% contained in Trinity County. And it's still burning. So, you know, this thing could go on for a while. So make sure, you know, if you get it, hang on to it and use it specifically. And again, if you have questions about how to use it, we're here to help. We're here to help. On the EIDL for disaster, there is a more stringent stipulation for credit history. Okay, applicants must have a credit score acceptable to the SBA. And guess what? They won't tell us what that credit score is. We anticipate and have kind of chosen a 675 credit score and above as being something to hopefully shoot for. If you're in the 700s, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. Credit scores, maximums are 850. So if you're anywhere over 700, don't worry about it. If you're 620, 615, you may want to do some work before you apply. Applicants must show that they're going to recover and repay the loan. So in other words, if your business is closed permanently due to the disaster, this type of loan you wouldn't want anyway, right? Because you don't want to owe the federal government for any money at this point if you cannot reopen. That's why your insurance companies and FEMA, Federal Emergency Disaster Group, those types of monies that may become available may be more helpful than this if you really suffered severe fire damage, okay? And again, collateral is normally required on any loan 25,000 or more. They, of course, SBA loves real estate. Who doesn't? As collateral, when collateral is available, they will not decline a loan if no collateral is available, but they will require that you pledge what is available. So if you had equipment that wasn't encumbered, they would take a lien against the equipment, a lien against the property, second mortgage, whatever, on loans above 25,000 if available. Okay. Will not be approved if you have unpaid IRS debt with no payment plan. If you're on a payment plan with the IRS, you're fine. Okay. Government student loans in collection, that can be an issue. Unpaid SBA loans past due, that could be an issue. And a felony conviction on your record. So those are the four main reasons for disapproval. Doesn't come up too often, but sometimes it does. So if you have questions on that, of course, let us know. Interest rates on these are a little different than the COVID EIDL. The COVID-19 EIDL is for a for-profit business, 3.75% fixed. For the disaster fire loans, it's 2.880. So 2.880 for both fire damage and economic injury. Now, there is something called credit available elsewhere, okay? So what they're going to do is they're going to ask you if you have the capability of borrowing from any other type of lender, like your bank. So if indeed you could go borrow funds from your bank or financial institution without question or issue, they're going to ask you to verify that before you get this thing. Okay. And so anyway, that's another stipulation on these compared to the COVID-19 EIDL. A little different. And the interest rates are lower here. Okay. So the terms on these, unlike the COVID-19 loan, they've gone to 30-year paybacks, flat. On these, will range from 7 years to 30. Okay. And it depends on the payability of your business prior to or coming out of the disaster. So in other words, they'll review your before disaster financials, come up with a payment capability you might have had prior to, and then base the payment amount and term on your payability. So they do a review. And unlike the COVID-19 EIDL, you will have to submit more paperwork for this one than you did on the COVID-19. Okay. Application dates so far, as of our latest communication with SBA. So application dates for physical damage, they're cut off at October 25th. So you have about 20 days left for physical damage if you wish to apply. But economic injury, as you can see, this could affect us a longer range or longer term. So they're going to let you apply all the way till May 24th, 2022. So a lot longer on that option, okay, for economic injury. What financial statements or documents are you going to need to prepare or get ready? Okay. And hopefully you've got the capability of having that information. I can tell you from some of the communications we've had with several people, it was important to have either cloud storage or removable hard drive storage for financial documentation. Because if you lost your computer and the only thing you had information-wise was in that computer, boy, I'll tell you what, that's a mess. So if you didn't have an outside accounting firm or group or a bookkeeper that's got them off-site, one of the things to always remember is to carry download a hard drive at least every day at the end of the day after you do input, and take it off premises, or use some sort of cloud storage capability. So at least you know if something happens to your laptop or your computer, you've got the documents, available, because they're going to need these. So what financial statements and so forth are needed to apply for the disaster loan for fire? Okay, so business P&L and balance sheet, last 3 years P&L. That's the profit and loss revenue sheet. Okay, that shows you how much you made, what your expenses are, how much your profit was, along with the last 3 years of the balance sheet showing your assets and liabilities. Okay. Also prepare by getting your personal financial statement ready. So a personal financial statement. And what that shows is your personal assets and personal liabilities, especially if you are a LLC or a corporation. They're going to want to know what your situation is personally as well as the business. Okay. So preparing all that information ahead of time and having it ready to download is hugely important. So basically what you want to do is scan these documents if you can, or have your bookkeeper or accountant send you a file with your tax returns, in the file. Store it in your desktop for now and prepare to download when you do the application. There'll be a portal where you can download that information onto the computer directly from your computer. part of the application process. Tax returns needed, 1040. You need your federal tax and state business tax returns. They want the whole thing. They want the whole thing. For the business and for you personally, okay? 2 years, download to your desktop. So in other words, prepare the last 2 years of filing for the business and your personal taxes and save them. Save them to the desktop or that thumb drive or whatever you want to have it stored to be prepared to download those as well. Even though the business is applying for the loan, most of the loans do require personal guarantee. It depends on dollar amount. But suffice it to say, they're going to want everybody to say yes to this thing. These are one of the loans available, like federally backed student loans, that you have to pay no matter what happens to the business. So that's one of the things, is you cannot bankrupt out of these loans. Either the EIDL disaster loan for COVID or these fire disaster loans. You have to pay them. You have to pay them, whether the business makes it or not. So also something to think about. Loan application process. What I've done here is put the link. You can just copy this, paste it, and put it onto your computer, to your Google or Yahoo or whatever you're using, to go to the economic injury disaster section of the SBA.gov's website. And it's got the application right on there. It's easy to see, okay? The application will require personal information data, including federal tax ID and social security number. If you're an LLC or a corporation, you'll also have the federal tax ID for the business. You'll need that. There's a document called a 4506T. And what that is a request for the IRS to disclose your tax returns that you submitted to them. They do a cross check, basically. So the 4506T is a document that you'll be filling out as well. And what you want to do on the 4506T is make sure that when you're requesting your IRS tax documents on this form, that the name of the business matches the name on the tax returns. Exactly. Okay. So very important that you have that information exact as it relates to your tax returns. Otherwise, it'll come back to say there's no information available, even though you submitted your taxes. You know what I mean? And of course, the SBA disaster loan application itself. Okay. And this again is the link to that section of the SBA.gov website. And obviously there's help available. That's the key issue here, is that we are here to assist. If you get into this and you start kind of, having an issue with any of this stuff, that's why we're here. That's why we're here, okay? We're ready to help. And the other thing is we now have the capability of coming over to Weaverville. And we have the capability of coming to the college, Shasta College over there, and we can set up there. And hopefully if we need to do maybe more than one a month, we'll contact them to see if we can come over and do extra days if necessary to help people with this. So you don't have to come all the way to Redding. Obviously, we're actually doing this from Redding, California here. But we can help you with the process. If it gets too daunting, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for, is to help. Okay. All right. Question and answer time. Let's see. We've got a few here. David already answered that. Yeah, you will all be receiving a copy of this deck. Okay, just leave your information, email information. We'll send you a copy of the deck. And it will show up on our YouTube channel as well, by the way. So it'll be there also. So anybody else have any other questions? Okay. So I think we covered all the goodies. Covered the disaster loan program, documents needed, prepare the documents, how to get a hold of us. So how do you get a hold of us? Here's an easy way. Boom. So here's all our contact information. Okay. We're located in Redding, as we mentioned, but we do have access to the college over there to come over and visit live in Weaverville. Need to sign up for our services if you haven't already done so. So to sign up for our services, Shasta-SBDC.org, right up here. And you can sign up again. It's all free. Obviously, since we're paid for by federal government funds, they want to make sure we're using them appropriately, and that'll help us report to the federal government that we're helping. We have a Facebook page. We have Twitter. We are on LinkedIn. And my favorite, of course, is our YouTube channel. We, because of COVID, we have taped darn near every one of our events that we had in the last 18 months. So you can see everything on there, from how to start a business to credit repair and review, what kind of legal entity you want, marketing webinars of all types, from Facebook to, I mean, you name it, we got it. Okay. You name it, we got it. So there's a lot of free stuff on there on YouTube. You sit down, relax, pull it up, watch it. And again, that's where this particular presentation will show up once we get it downloaded. So it'll be on there as well. I see David posted the survey. One of the things we always like is for people to go on to the surveymonkey.com and just go ahead and put on there what you thought about this presentation. If there's anything else you'd like to know or see, this is how we make new classes up and make changes to the existing webinars and classes, is by you filling out the survey. So we really appreciate it if you'll do that. And we're here.
Joe, we do have a request. They're asking, could you speak briefly about the ag water loans? Do you have that information?
Let me really quick, since we have time, do a quick search real fast through the disaster declarations. Let's see, disaster, physical damage mitigation, economic injury, disaster, military. See if they're still open on the water. There were only certain counties that were eligible for the water disaster lack of water disaster program. So let me see if they're still up. Got flood mitigation. That's for all the people that were affected by the hurricanes. Wildfire, wind, earthquake. Okay, so that's not it. Recovery, business, underserved. Nope. Let's see here. Okay, let me get to California. And by the way, if you go on to the disaster loan assistance on SBA.gov, you can research under current declared disasters on the SBA.gov website, any and all disaster programs available for every state in the United States. It's pretty cool. Let me get our California thing going on here. Hey, here it is. Here we go. Here we go. Agricultural. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my. Where is California? And of course, they don't put them in alphabetical order. How about that? So I'm trying to find California out of order here.
I'm going to put a link in for EIDL loans for ag that came out last year, a presentation that came last year. But I'm looking it over and I don't see anything about water, but I'll put it in there.
Yeah,
anyway,
the disaster declaration on drought was started 5/4 of 21, but the counties included in that disaster declaration are Monterey, San Benito, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, Fresno, King, Santa Cruz, Santa Clara, Merced, Kern, and Ventura. So, as I mentioned, it was mostly for the ag in the valley. Okay, it was mostly ag in the valley. So it doesn't appear that our counties are included in the drought disaster declaration. That's still open for state of California. See if I missed one while I'm here. Since we do have a little time, it's worth the search. Yeah, that's the only one. That's the only one still open and available is drought, and it's in those counties I just read off. So. Monterey, San Benito, San Luis, Santa Barbara, Fresno, Kings, Santa Cruz, Santa Clara, Merced, Kern, and Ventura. So unfortunately, the North State's not included in that particular drought declaration.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. But you know, with the EIDL still available for, if anybody didn't apply for the EIDL COVID disaster loss of revenue, it's a heck of a program. It's 30-year loan, 3.75, based on 2019 sales and cost of goods. It's a clean program, very clean. I can tell you right now, as long as I've been a lender, for as many years as I've been involved in the credit industry, 3.75, 2.880 interest rates fixed for a business loan of any kind is unheard of. So please take advantage if these are going to help you. It's worth applying. It's worth applying. Okay. The COVID disaster loan application on the SBA.gov, 15 minutes to fill that out max. If you've ever filled out applications before, this thing's it's a piece of cake. Okay. And then this one, of course, for the fire disaster, takes a little more paperwork, but both those programs are extremely helpful for businesses up here in the north because we haven't fully recovered. People aren't still coming up here from the Bay Area and San Francisco. And I mean, they try to come up and play. Then we have no water at the lake. So, that's a problem as well. So if you're in the recreational field, go get these, man. That's going to be the best deal. No doubt about it. And again, if you have any other questions when you're going through this personally, who are you going to call? Us, right? 222-8323, area code 530. Make sure to sign up for the services first so that we can help you as much as we can. And you can use any of us to assist, whether you're got some QuickBooks questions or marketing questions or HR questions or want to get money of any type. We'll try to find it for you. We'll try to find it for you. Okay. That's what I love doing anyway. All right. Any other questions last minute? Well, I want to go ahead and thank everybody for attending today. Again, you'll be getting a copy of this and it will be posted to our YouTube channel very shortly. And like I say, we're here to help. And hopefully these types of programs can assist you in getting your business back on course. Okay. All right. Well, everybody have a great day. And we'll see you at the next class.